Hey.
Hey.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us for our second Talk by Heart.
Oh,
This
party.
month, we have been focusing on rest as a means of resilience and restoration. And we have the amazing Victoria here today to talk by heart with. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming.
So much for having me. Like, this is just such a great platform to be joining tonight. So I'm just really honored you've invited me. So thank you.
Thank you so much for saying yes. So Victoria and I met quite a while back, and just before we came on live, actually, we were just talking about how we met. It was really sporadic and really random. And you know, when you just feel drawn to someone, we were both like, oh my gosh, we're gonna work together in the future. And we haven't yet, but we know it's still gonna happen. But we knew that we'd love to have Victoria on as a guest because she's a writer, she's a poet, she's an artist, and we're going to be getting into talking with her a bit more about what she's created, what she's going on to create, and what she's feeling at the moment. But everything that Victoria's made and that I've encountered has just totally pulled me in. And I was saying to her, she does have this presence about her and this quality that you feel like you're just luxuriating in her words. And I was like, absolutely, we have to have her on. And it would be delicious to dive into this conversation about rest and, you know, what rest looks like individually for us, what well-being looks like individually for us, and just talk really honestly about it without all the buzzwords that can kind of come with, you know, ideas around wellness and well-being. And so, yeah, we're really, really, really excited to connect tonight. For those who don't know Victoria or don't really know much about us, just to let you know, you can find Wild Within, which is Leda and myself, at www.wearewildwithin.com. You can find us on Instagram under the same name, We Are Wild Within. You can join our wild community as well on our website. Sign up to our newsletters, find out about all the things we're up to and all the awesome people that we're going to be sitting down and chatting to for the rest of this year. You can also find Victoria on her website, which is just going along the bottom now. So that's www.victoriaadukweibulley.com. And you can also find her on the magic space that is Twitter. So go, follow. I'm sure after this you will anyway. Is there anything else that I need to say that I haven't said?
Housekeeping.
I've done all the housekeeping. I'm on it.
Let's find more about Victoria.
You go, Lex. First thing we want to know. Actually, yeah. Do you mind if I go? I love that. No, do you mind if I go? First thing I wanted to ask you, Victoria, is, I guess, you know, assuming that maybe other people don't know or haven't encountered your work, and even if they have, they might not know what drew you to your current work. So I guess that's my first question for you. Like, what drew you to the work that you create and the work you do?
I feel like, even though I don't 100% feel confident calling myself this, I think that I really do identify as an artist. So I feel that, and I don't think that's anything like rare at all. I think a lot of people are naturally artists, and I think that if you are someone who's curious and you are creative and you are interested in the world and people's stories, or like plants and animals or whatever it is that fascinates you, and you're in touch with that, I think you're an artist, basically. But yeah, most of the work that I do artistically is through the written word. So I'm a poet. I'm also I also work with film sometimes, and I incorporate poetry into film. I also am experimenting with fiction at the moment. So I'm writing a poetry book right now. It's going to be my first debut, well, my debut collection, my full collection. So it's not done, it's almost done. And then like once that's done, I'm gonna dive deep into the fiction. I'm also doing a PhD, which is what the poetry project is part of, but it just so happens that it's coinciding with a publishing offer to actually publish the PhD work as a book. So there's a lot.
What's your PhD about?
So it's a practice-based creative writing PhD. So you write a thesis and you're exploring an idea, and you also write your poetry collection that's kind of another way of exploring that same idea. So you have two things happening at once. One is critical and one is your actual like practice creative offering, and they kind of with each other. So.
It sounds amazing.
Wow. Sorry, but can we just take a minute? Like, you're absolutely beasting. Literally, the things you just dropped there, I'm like, hold on. You just casually came in with, oh yeah, and I'm doing a PhD at the end, which is like encompassing kind of thing for, you know, everything that you're creating at the moment that's new. Also, hello, did we just, I love it. I'm such a hype. I'm like, did we just get exclusive on Victoria's book? That's coming. I don't know. I'm just so hyped. You know that as soon as that's out, yes, we're getting it.
Know.
Yes, Victoria, beast.
So, in doing all that you're doing at the moment, like, how do you find time? Like, do you find time for yourself, or like, is it something you consciously have to make time for? Because it sounds like you're hella busy.
I mean, it sounds okay. So, like, even like, I don't really feel like I'm doing a legit PhD, because when I hear the word PhD, I'm thinking, oh, like scientist, or like someone who's sort of like in the library, like you never see them, like they're like don't have like daylight on their skin. Okay, we need to clarify this. So basically, because mine is, I'm not saying it's not hard, but because mine is practice-based, in a way, I'm doing something that I was already doing anyway, but also having to write a bit more in terms of like critical thinking on the side. And another thing is that I'm so like, this is a really blessed time because I was able to get funding to do it. So it means, even though I have other work happening outside of the PhD, I'm still being paid to study. So that means that I don't have too much pressure on me right now, because the university, thank God, is paying most of my upkeep. So that kind of like gives a bit more of a picture of like staying well through it. But it is difficult in the sense that I feel like, even though I don't have like a 9 to 5 and my work is mainly for the PhD, but I also do freelance stuff on the side, the tricky thing is that I think I never switch off. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about something, technically I'm working. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I resonate with that a lot, because when you, especially when you work for yourself, right? When you're freelance, when your mind is going, even if you're not actively doing the work, it's like you're still engaged with the work. And it's like, how do you switch that off? You know, how do you? And actually, I took a little bit of your advice the other night, Victoria, and I ran myself a bath, filled it with salt. I turned the lights off, and I just put my music on, and I was like, Victoria I have never done it with music, and I've never had it completely dark, and it was just delicious.
Darkness is like, when I read that, I was like, yeah, actually, the darkness giving like flotation tank, sensory deprivation vibe. Very true.
Like, honestly, like that's basically the vibe. Like, this is like a poor man's deprivation tank. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have never been to a sensory deprivation tank, but I imagine that like this is the most do it at home version of that. So I'm glad you tried it, because
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've all run for salt baths, and occasionally I'll light a candle, but I've never done it with like lights down completely and music, and it was just a whole different vibe. Yeah, so thank you for that. That actually helped me get out of my head. It was really lovely at that time. And actually, like thinking about music and stuff, we want to know, what tunes do you have on repeat at the moment? Like, what are the ones that are your go-tos for switching off, or like turning it up, or like shaking out like any kind of stress or tension?
Let's see.
Yes, I love it.
I have a whole what do I have on repeat right now? You know what? I feel like I love Hiatus Coyote. I don't know if
Come on. Yes.
And I just feel like
I'm gonna play the tune, I bet you have.
Oh gosh, like I heard one of their new songs called Red Room from like their forthcoming album. But also Napalm, the lead singer, like she's just, I don't know if you've seen that series online called What's Underneath, where people basically like take...
Yes, by Style Like You. And they take off layers of clothing. I love that series.
You need to watch her one, because it's the most devastating. Like, I just feel like her heart is so open, and because of that, her voice is the voice that she has. So yeah, I have one of their new songs on my playlist. I like a lot of really chill stuff. So like, I think there's like Mount Kimby on here.
Yes, on. Why are you just dropping all of the names?
Hang out.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We need to do a party, but with like chilled, like the whole thing is just full tracks.
Yeah.
Sensory. The whole thing is just sensory.
Sensory, like atmosphere. Jordan Rakai, I feel like he's actually like next level.
Yes.
We're going to have some tracks from you to add to our playlist.
Let's do it.
Yeah, the rest playlist, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, things like that. Nick Hakim, you know what? When I found out he was a Gemini, I was like, it makes sense.
Are you a Gemini too?
No, I'm an Aries.
Okay.
With a Libra or Libra moon and a Capricorn rising, but I just know that Gemini men are no. But it's like, but there's a spark. And when I heard he was a Gemini, I was like, yeah, this is why I should never meet him, because no good would come of it.
So let's say, but Gemini men are a bit dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
I love this.
Any of their top threes in Gemini?
Noted.
From a distance.
Amazing.
But yeah.
When we were, oh sorry.
No, God.
When you sent your quickfire questions, you were talking about ritual and being passionate with yourself about not always fulfilling like your well-being rituals, and that really stood out to me, because sometimes like I can be hard on myself, like, oh, I haven't done my meditation this morning, and I kind of set myself up sometimes like, oh, I haven't done all these things that make me feel good, so today's going to be a bit crap. And being able to be like, do you know what, it's okay, like just giving myself that kindness and compassion. So yeah, that stood out to me, what you were saying.
Yeah, we loved that. And similarly to you, like everything you just said, I think I can be like that with myself as well. And we just wondered, could you expand a little bit more on, on that kind of idea of like falling out of the practice, being part of the practice, and like making a ritual of being compassionate with yourself about that, because that really resonated quite strongly with us.
Yeah, I feel like right now is a good time to talk about that, because I really feel like, and I'm 30 now, like I've turned 30 in March, and I really feel like my whole life I've been sort of waiting to feel like I'm on top of it, like I'm on top of like everything. Do you know what I mean? And being the sort of person who wakes up at like 6 a.m., like goes for a run, does yoga, has their lemon water, like boom, boom, boom. Everything is just like, yeah, this is my morning. And I'm not that person. And I actually still want to be that person, but I'm not consistent in the way that image looks to me. But I have found that I am building the habits, and I feel like really it doesn't matter if you've been doing something for 30 years or you've been doing it for the last week. I think it's about coming to your practice with integrity, and in that same sense of like you can't breathe for yesterday, you can't breathe for tomorrow, you can't eat for yesterday, you can't eat for tomorrow. If you're hungry, you eat for now. If you need to breathe now. You can't breathe for 10 years ago. You can't breathe for your deadline. You can only breathe for now. So even for those people who maybe look like they have it down in my head, it doesn't count. All that counts is, have you done what you can today? Tomorrow you start again. And I feel like today do you know what I mean? Like, you're never like, as long as you're alive, it's like you're not, oh, I'm done now. Like, no, like even if you're in a relationship, you're not in a relationship. It's not, oh, like, boom, I've got it. No, like, so I feel like knowing that and just letting today speak for today is, and even if that means I didn't do what I wanted to do today, did I try? And if it was too hard, was I soft with myself? Because, I think, like I said to you, Amma, like there's a phrase that was ringing in my head, like, even falling off the path is the path. So I try to see my detour as still being useful to me. Right now, I feel like I'm on my detour because there's a lot of stuff happening. We lost a family member. I went to Ghana 2 weeks, came back. And I feel like since I've come back, everything I built, quit one of my jobs, then a week later, my grandma passed. Everything I built and was hoping to build in the wake of quitting that job, suddenly I can't even remember it anymore. I can't even remember the routines I had in plan. It's like, do you know what I mean? And I can't really do anything about that apart from just say, look, life doesn't work like that. How can I try to show up?
Oh my gosh, I'm not, when you're going to put something on repeat and play it back many times.
Need a moment.
Like,
it's the now. Like there's a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I had that book for ages, and it took ages for it to click for me that now is the only time that matters. Can't do anything about yesterday or about tomorrow. We only have now, and I spoke so beautifully on that because it's real.
I was literally, as the words left your mouth, I was like, and this is why you're a poet and a writer. This is why that's one of the mediums you use, because you just, I feel like you just encompassed it so exactly, right? And so eloquently, and with, like I don't even have the words. That honestly, I feel like you just nailed it, and I feel like you actually spoke to me today with the kind of day that I had today. So thank you as well.
But you know what? Like, if either of you, like, I feel like we can skill share. So like, if either of you have like your routines, like if you're good at that stuff, please teach me. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I'm gonna grow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I will share is keep things simple.
Yeah.
Like, I used to like try and have these elaborate morning routines. By the time I'd finish, I was so tired. Just keep it simple. And just keep it simple and a little at a time.
Like don't add, I would say don't kind of, well, in my experience, don't try to add loads and loads of components in. I have two things that I know I want to do every morning, and if they don't happen, sometimes they don't happen, and if they don't happen, I try to go, okay, can I do one later? And do I want to do it later still? And if I can and I do, then I do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't happen. And I'm like, well, it doesn't mean that it's not still a consistent practice. You know, if you miss a day, you miss a couple of days. And I try to give myself like a bracket of time with which I'm going to do them in. So I'm like, okay, I want to move and I want to write. And I'm like, right, I'm going to give myself an hour in the morning for that. And, you know, however I want to divide that time up between the writing and the moving is up to me. And if I want that moving to be yoga, maybe in the morning I'll do yoga. If I want it to be like just in freestyle dance improv, then I'll do that, you know. And if I want to free write, I'll do that. But if I want to do my gratitude book, then I'll do that, you know. So kind of, I know what I'm doing, but I give myself some flexibility within that, and I find that to be quite helpful.
You're also just checking in with how you feel in the morning, like, or checking in, like, how do I feel? What do I want to do?
Yeah. I like that. I like that there's that essence of like giving yourself options, because I think often like we do think about the morning as like some kind of like regimental thing, and I guess counterproductive. And I never really thought about it like, oh, like, no, block out the time and choose from your like selection of like, you know, things that you can do. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, that helps. That's helped me a lot, because I think my nature is to be very regimented. And so I have to really like constantly, like, as much as I can be, you know, like I think I'm more disposed to like structure and like rules, and it's just how my brain works. So I have to put things in place to kind of break that a little bit, so I don't get so stuck in like patterns, like musts and that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah. And then what about because I think something that kind of, I guess, takes me out of that kind of like rule-led space actually, and takes me further into myself, you know, that whole kind of feeling of when you are when you're able to hear more, and like when you slow down, you're able to feel more. And I often come out of those kind of spaces just feeling so much more connected to myself, so much less fearful about like the uncertainties of life, and, you know, about things that like effectively that we can't control, that I don't know whether X is going to happen or Y is going to happen. So much more like centered and ready to just move into my day with a bit more, I guess, a bit more compassion, and flexibility. And I think one of the spaces that does that for me is nature, massively. You know, if I put myself into nature, it feels like it just allows me to make sense of so much, and everything else often feels a lot less important, or I'm able to hold a different perspective for it all. And I know you're the same since you were really, really young. And I know you have a really special relationship with nature. And I just wanted to ask you a little bit about that. We wanted to hear why nature's a tonic for you, or, you know, what your relationship with nature's like. And we know that you wrote a little bit as well in the book In the Garden, Essays on Nature and Growing. We wondered if you could tell us a bit about that as well, if it felt relevant.
Yeah, I mean, like both of you, I was like in the garden, like as a kid, like I was always like outside, like playing in the garden, like by myself mostly, and like, digging things up and like summoning some ants. Do you know what I mean? Or like, like, and I kind of feel like I didn't really know what I was doing back then, but that was just a place where I felt, I guess, what's the word? Because I think what we're looking for when we're trying to sort of feel more whole is almost in a way to forget ourselves, and like to forget the barrier between ourselves and the rest of the world, to kind of like dissolve a little bit, so that you feel that sense of expansiveness and wholeness. And I feel that when I'm, especially if I'm like cycling, or like if I'm in the garden, we've got a garden here and we're lucky that it's quite nice, like I do feel that you kind of are able to forget yourself a bit and to kind of, there's always something to see. Like there's always something to see if you're outside in nature. There's never, you've never seen it all. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same as walking down the street in the middle of a city. I mean, there's always something to see in a city too, but like, it's amazing, like seeing how, like, even for example, it's rained a lot recently. It's been like raining for 3 weeks. But if you look at the trees, like everything has kind of like really grown. Like everything's really green now. And it's like everything is alive. Do you know what I mean? And it's nice to kind of feel small, but to feel that you're alive with it. It's not just you. You know, you're not alone in the world as a human. It's not just you and other humans, it's you and other living things that are in your garden or that you're eating. So I think for me, like, gardening is kind of a way of reminding yourself of, look, like, there's like a mystery that happens when you plant something and it grows. Yeah, you're watering it. Yeah, you planted it. But when things don't grow, or things like, you know, there's plants that you might buy and then you water them and they don't thrive. Like, it reminds you that like everything isn't promised and everything has a condition that's right for it. So yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I also feel like, I feel like a plant. Like, I feel like, obviously I'm from Ghana, do you know what I mean? I'm not getting my vitamin D, like, I'm not hitting it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not hitting it. So what do I need to do to get my ideal conditions for me to grow?
Speak it.
Nature's such a lovely mirror sometimes as well. Like, if ever I feel a bit lost on what to do, whenever I go out into nature, it will somehow give you the answer. Like, if you're quiet enough and you're just observant enough, you would see yourself and the world reflected in nature, which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
My gosh. I can't wait till we meet IRL.
I know.
I also want to meet you. I want to meet you, Layla, because I've been reading, you know, I've been like, it's on your profile. I was like, oh, she's a herbalist. And it's like, this is another thing. I forgot to talk about herbs. Like, I feel like I'm a herbalist at heart. So like, I've got my teas, I've got my hawthorn, my yarrow. And I just I like knowing that, I like feeling that everything that we need is here. Like, you don't have to buy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, things have literally grown on this planet to support our wellness.
Everywhere, on the roadsides, like, not that you'd pick herbs from the roadsides, but like even weeds are medicine. And food, and like, how beautiful that these things support us everywhere. Like, we'll get into it.
Yeah, don't worry, we're all going to the Serpentine. We're going to the bombastic exhibition, and we're going to get into some juiciness afterwards for sure.
I can't believe the time has gone already.
No, I can't believe it. Yeah, we're at like 29 minutes. That's crazy.
And we haven't even finished finding out all the things that we want to find out. But to ask one last question.
I know, it's like, how?
How do you stay in your power? How do you stay wild within?
I feel like it takes a lot of self-belief, because how do I answer this question? I think with a lot of faith and a lot of belief that, since it's true, okay, what do we know is true? I know that you have never been here before, Amma. Layla, you've never been here before. As Layla, as Amma, this is the only time you're walking this earth as yourselves that you know. And so of all the billions and billions and billions of people on this planet, there's only one you. Now, if I choose not to be here in my most natural state, there will never be that opportunity again. It's like, why not feel our way into what we really have to offer that no one else can offer. And I think that what helps me is to just see other people doing that in ways that makes me want to know who I am. So I look at the people who inspire me. Like people who have that flame of like, yeah, like they're in touch with themselves and nobody can tell them anything unless it resonates with them. Like, who are the people who are so self-possessed in the sense of they know who they are, and it's this mystical kind of feeling of there's more. It's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain, but I just think that it's really important to me that I am so much myself that other people feel free. And I think there's a lot of loneliness in that because sometimes you don't have a prototype. You don't think there's any, you can't see a model to give you permission to be yourself.
Yeah.
But you have to try anyway.
And trust in
like you. So.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, so gorgeous and so true. I feel like I could cry, like really close to tears. That just like, no.
Victoria, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have to like do this again.
Like
so soon.
seriously.
Oh, it's been lovely.
It's been so delicious. So short as always. I know, but we will do it again soon, for sure. And we can do this again soon, right?
Yeah.
So, and if anyone has any questions or comments for Victoria, we know we've run out of time, but please just send them through to us. Just send us an email, send Victoria a tweet, find her on her website.
I'm going to go and follow you on Twitter.
I don't really say much on Twitter, but like Instagram, I think it's private, but but still.
It's private, but add Victoria anyway if you want to, and she'll choose whether she's going to accept you, basically, because that's her autonomy and her right. Yeah. But maybe tell her that you were here so she knows who you are. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Victoria. And we'll definitely do this again soon.
Please.
Thank you for everyone for being here as well.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.